speaker for today. Our next speaker is Mr. Mitesh Shah. Mr. Shah is the Regional Director of MReach Singapore with over 13 plus years of experience across multiple sectors including BFSI, telecom, airport, retail, and ITAs. His motto in life is stay hungry and humble, which has enabled him to move up the professional ladder quickly and within a short span of time. With experience in both startup as well as the MNC environment, he has delivered both as an individual contributor and managed teams to deliver excellent results for the organization. Mr. Shah is going to speak on thinking beyond conventional crisis communication. The virtual stage is over to you, Mr. Mitesh Shah.
Thanks, Elizabeth, for the kind words. I hope my screen is visible and I'm audible.
I confirm you're visible and audible as well as we can see the screen there. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. So thanks a lot, first of all, to Sohan and the entire team at Alvin for giving the opportunity to me and then presenting on the topic of thinking beyond conventional crisis communication. It's a great thanks a lot to all the audience. It is always special to have audience attend on a Saturday. Very rare commodity, right? We do not want our personal time to be interfered, but this in itself shows the importance of the topic that we are going to discuss today. So a warm welcome to all the audience in different geographies. Good morning, good afternoon, right from Middle East to India and Africa as well. I believe there are some audience from Australia as well who have joined in. So thanks a lot to all the audience who have joined from different geographies. Without further ado, let me move ahead. Okay, my introduction has been done. And this is my topic. So let me just, before I move ahead, my topic is touching upon one component of the entire organization resilience aspect, and it is about crisis communication. And I'm going to speak specifically about how crisis communication could be modernized, automated, and how tools today can help you achieve. See, one thing I want to make it clear, irrespective of what you do in organization resilience, crisis communication or communication as a component is non-negotiable. I repeat, communication as a component is non-negotiable. You may not go to a recovery site, your office may be closed, but you need to communicate to all your stakeholders, and especially your employees and your senior management, to give them an update about what's happening on ground, as well as make them understand whether they should come to office, not come to office, whether you want an update about whether they are well, not well due to COVID times, or if you wanted to just use communication because of your IT incidents as well. So communication today has become a bare minimum commodity, as I said, non-negotiable. But what I want to press upon that it has to go beyond the conventional scope. Just a quick brief about MReach. I'll not take much time up here. We are a global service provider in the emergency notification and the critical event management space. We are number one in the Asia Pacific and Middle East region. We are constantly innovating. So some of the things that we have done, which no other service provider in the emergency communication space has done. For example, we have WhatsApp as a mode of communication. We do encryption of data both at rest and at transit. A lot of speakers have already spoken about the importance of standards and all. We are ourselves ISO 27001 compliant, SOC 2 Type 2 compliant. We have also received the BCI award for best service and product as well. And lastly, why clients like us? It can only be shown by client retention. All the clients that have started or embarked their journey for support on crisis communication, they have always been with us throughout the years. I like this slide a lot. Okay. Now this I'll speak about key features of a communication tool itself. Now, bare minimum, let me begin with, and there was a question that was asked, how many times we should do a test. And the answer to that is at least once, but typically you can do more than once depending upon how big the size of the organization is. And one of the things that you do in your testing exercise regime, you can do modular functional test as well for your functions, but you also do a call tree exercise, right? Now, typically, we had a very good discussion with the client just recently about last week, and this discussion went this way. So we were talking, and they were looking for a communication tool to help them grow and help them assist in the entire communication piece, because the problem statement that was given to us was, currently for a regular call tree exercise for about 500 to 600 employees, it takes them nearly 3 hours to complete their entire exercise. And why it takes 3 hours is because traditionally how a call tree exercise is done is, one person, it follows a pyramid scheme. So one person calls 4, the 4 call another 16 in second layer, the 16 another call 64 in the third layer, and that how it goes. There are multiple ways it can fail. One, if one of the person is not reachable, his mobile is off, he's on a vacation, he's not able to reach, then you're not able to reach the entire channel below him. Second, we have had experience where clients have told us that there are extra smart people in our organization. They have changed the message itself. They've added their own script to the message, and the scope of the message completely diverted what the organization said. So what we are saying is this 3 to 4 hours or 5 hours in a crisis is absolutely not acceptable. Dr. Nitin earlier during the panel cited the Morgan Stanley example, and it is it's a very good example. I forgot the name of the gentleman. He's an the guy who saved all these lives actually died saving during the entire exercise itself. He was their lead of physical security, if I'm not wrong. What it highlighted was that you need to have communication done timely. Okay, you need to send the right message in the right time frame. Correct. That is the first important feature. Second, you should have the ability to send it anywhere from anywhere. So suppose you are the first responder or the business continuity manager, or you are the person in charge who has been told that if in case of a crisis, you are going to do the crisis communication. What if he's on having a dinner with his family or watching a movie with his friends? You should have the ability to initiate a rollout of a message immediately from wherever you are. It cannot be that, oh, I have to go back, log in onto a system. I only can access it through a browser, or I need a system for it. It has to be mobile friendly as well in today's world, because you are working from anywhere, correct? Second, it has to give you back some response. See, a lot of time what I have biggest roadblock for any adoption, which most business continuity managers says that we are currently using emails, we are only using SMS. It doesn't work. You need to have multiple modes of communication. You need to have a response back from your employees to understand whether they need help or not, so that out of the entire scale that you're reaching out to, you can only concentrate on the people that need help. It also has to be intelligent, right? Now, intelligent meaning in today's world, our mobile phones generally, I would say our batteries goes off once in 15 days or once in a month. Definitely, our battery will completely be off. We have forgotten to charge it overnight or something like that, or we are traveling from A distance to B and our phone is on an airplane mode, or you're in a location where the telecom network is not there. So what to do in that scenario? So an automated crisis communication tool should give you that ability to intelligently retry to people who have not been communicated. So it will try again after 10-15 minutes. It will keep trying until that message is reached out. Now, this was a crucial thing that was done, and we have live examples. One example to highlight would be Kerala floods a couple of years back. And during the Kerala floods, communication channels were also down. It was coming up slowly. So the organization which needed support kept it open for a longer duration of time. It has to be reliable. The tool itself has to have a BCDR arrangement, so that what if the tool doesn't go down? So it has to have multiple modes of reliability factor there in itself. And unified meaning it has to have multiple modes of communication. I was reading an article. There was a university in the US, Virginia Tech, if I'm not wrong, the name of the university. In 2011, they had an active shooter incident, and they had something they had prepared for it, but they did one-way messaging, but it was done through email. Half of them couldn't reach, the message couldn't reach to half of them in time. Half of them did not understand the message correctly because are you in email and you're running around, rushing around, it could done. So it was not an effective mode of communication. So what we are seeing, the first piece in the entire organization resilience space could be risk assessment, business BIA, making your plans and all. But at the same time, do not forget the communication piece as well. And when you're looking at the communication piece, please focus on having a communication tool which can automate all of this for you. This is the bare minimum. Now, this is a conventional way of doing it. So some of your organizations might be using an automated tool. If not, please do reach out to us. We would be more than happy to assist you to do a free POC, to do a trial run for your call to exercise, to make your management understand. Because what I've found is the hurdle is not the business continuity management. They know that this is important, but it is not sometimes acceptable because organizations, the senior management is asking for more return on investment. So let me show you how we can generate more return on investment. So before I go to that piece, we have supported across multiple incidents, right from COVID to Mountain Tal in Philippines, to cyber incidents, to monsoons, which are very frequently in Mumbai. There are at least 2 incidents that happen every year, to wildfires in California, to bushfires in Australia, right? So we have supported organization across different incidents. So let's move towards, see what I told you, what's all the conventions. So how, now today, what I'm going to focus now in the next few slides, how do you go back to your management, say, this is a tool which is important and we can generate more return on investment by investing into such kind of tools. So let me highlight some things. The first could be, because currently most of us are working from home and working across different geographies, can you track real-time employees wherever they are on the planet? And can you use an interactive tool to monitor if there was a incident? So take an example. There were a lot of political protests that were happening in India in the last couple of months from December onwards, right? And in different pockets of the Delhi NCR region, there were a lot of incidents that were happening. Can you plot a map and say, okay, this is Jantar Mantar, a key area. There is protest happening here, or an India Gate. And can you draw a radius, say a 2-kilometer radius, and identify where your employees are and advise them that there are protests happening. We are worried about it. Please, if you are in that particular region, please try to avoid that region, or if you are in that region, evacuate that region, that kind of thing. So the tool today has the ability to give you real-time location of your employees based on where they are. And this could help them be, it can be in any location, right? So they could be in remote location in their villages. And if there is a flooding kind of alert or a typhoon kind of alert in Philippines, you can plot the location and then reach out to them. The tool also has the capability to interact with your travel risk management. Now it is, yes, we may say, okay, travel has stopped in the last 1 year, but I'm sure in 2022 or mid to late 2022, we'll resume some form of travel back, and people will be traveling more often than now. So there is a possibility where this tool could be integrated. So people who are traveling to X location could be notified of any incidents that are happening to their travel location itself. Self-declaration. Now, I had not put COVID-19, but specifically in COVID-19, how? So organizations are currently using this kind of crisis communication tool to provide self-declaration. We have an organization that does it every week. Okay, so every Monday, a notification goes to all where they have to self-declare that whether they have any symptoms of COVID, yes or no, or they have, if they're coming to office, they have to declare before coming to office if they have any symptoms of COVID. Now, this allows the organization to focus on employees who have symptoms and then make sure those employees do not mingle with the employees that are already well or who do not have any symptoms. So you can focus on only employees. Now, this is a very separate use case wherein it's a declaration, there is no crisis going on, but by doing an exercise, the organization gets a dashboard view within no time about the thing. So imagine you have 500 people and every Monday, every week this goes out. By 11 o'clock, you can tell your management, okay, this is the 500 people. We have 400 people. You have said, no, they have apps. They are well. There are no symptoms. 50 people are not reachable. Another 30 have said they have symptoms. And then you can focus on those 30 people and say, okay, you may want to do a test. You may want to do a self quarantine kind of a scenario. Correct. Again, how you can use it. So one of the organization used us for work from home readiness. So they wanted to check whether the employees have all the capabilities to work from home. Now, this was done way back in maybe April or May, wherein they checked, okay, do you have relevant infrastructure in terms of laptops or internet speeds or VPNs, or you want any furniture support or that kind of thing. Now, what they did after that, okay, it's a good thing. Okay, you understood that an organization did a spread of, you want want to identify how many people want support, but then they bifurcated that support. Okay, anybody who wants VPN kind of support, they drilled down based on the report. Immediately the specific team was involved. You have to focus on this 20 employees. Anybody who wants furnitures and fixtures, the facilities team was involved. 10 people, you focus on this one. So this gives at a dashboard view to the management more authority and convincing power that, okay, this tool, the communication tool, can give returns even during non-crisis periods, even during an ongoing crisis period. So what I'm trying to again drive the thought is the conventional method of thinking, okay, I have to only use communication tool during a crisis. We have to move from that thought process. It could be used for so many different scenarios. Let me take it further. So now this is one scenario where our clients used it, and all these use cases, which I'm using the word use cases, these are scenarios where our clients have used it actively. Okay, actually, you see, it has been practiced, it has been proven its worth, and that's why we are showcasing here. So they said, okay, what if our mail server goes down? Can your tool act as a secure team communication method? Yes, it can do that. It can act as an alternative source wherein employees can communicate without having the use of the primary mail. It is only during mail outage. Or there was a scenario where company said, okay, we want to use a specific tool for a very, very confidential project for a very small team. You can use the same tool to do that as well. So think of use cases beyond the natural, beyond the organic crisis incident scenario. Also, we had one more scenario where organization said that we want a closed group communication for a crisis management team. And they said, whatever happens during this crisis, whatever communication that happens between us, it should be separate from a primary email. Because what if our primary email gets hacked tomorrow? I do not want this kind of crisis information leaked out and people then judging us because of our response that we have taken up. So they wanted a very segregated platform where all the discussion related to a crisis happens differently than the original email server. Okay, that is something which we have done as well. Again, very, very different use case. So we have had scenarios of an employee information line. See, when people talk about a crisis communication tool, it is generally a push method, right? Means an organization pushes a notification, say for an office closure, or for about a route change, or for about incident, or do not access or you read that email that has come to, it is a spam email or it is a ransomware attack possible. So this is a push method. Now, what if the organization wants to do a pull method? A pull method means the organization says we'll keep an information line. They will actually have a number for themselves. Okay, so an organization X has a number 99999. Okay, example, and they will say, because sometimes the information is so unfolding so rapidly. Say again in a protest scenario where every hour something or the other is changing, or in a flooding kind of scenario, every hour the weather alert is changing. They will say, I do not know whether tomorrow office is going to be open or not. I cannot tell you now. So what you do, before tomorrow you come to office, call this number, and we will by night or tomorrow morning we'll keep one message for you so that you can know okay what to do or not. Now this could also act as an automatic handling of call inquiries, because some of the common inquiries could be handled because of this, and it can help facilitate the HR and corporate to communicate something special as well. So if they wanted to say a message, a good motivational message, they can put it during non-crisis times. Or they have said, okay, our organization has achieved 100 million as revenue. They can say that as in the employee information line. So there are different use cases wherein organization can adopt a pull method where employees can read out information from the employees through the number allotted. Again, this kind of tools have risk tracking and awareness capabilities kind of as well. So our tool Mreach has collaboration with risk tracking tools, so that anything that happens somewhere, an alert that is generated because of an active incident, something can quickly be converted into a notification without the need of the organization being involved. So suppose a runway has been impacted because the airplane is in, and you can quickly want to disseminate this information to your traveling users. So that is the workflow you can follow and reach out to them. Similarly, it can be a weather alert. So a weather alert that, there is a possible typhoon that is going to impact a particular state and it has come up and the region that is coming up. Then you can draw out the map, the earlier geo fencing thing, and inform people who are in that particular state. So what we are saying, mixing and matching multiple tooling mechanism, this will give you much more effective mode of communication. It could be protest dates and time. So you can share this important advisory with your employees so they do not plan to travel out or venture out to those particular areas, or if they're sales or consulting domain, they avoid or schedule their appointments accordingly. So what we are trying to say is this tool allows to convert an important risk intelligence into a notification without no time. And this allows us to proactively monitor risk and give timely reaction to it to minimize the impact. So this, what we are saying again and again, is in a crisis, every second counts, and a combination of all this helps you to save time. Again, a lot of time people say this is no, we cannot use it in our IT space. Now this could be actually embedded and used with their IT alerting systems. So you can use it with a ServiceNow kind of a company or HP Service Manager kind of a application as well. So what we do, we can actually enhance your ITSM solutions so that faster incident resolutions happen. So let me cite an example. So typically what happens, say if a server usage goes beyond 70%, there's an automated email alert that goes based on the SOC, the security operations team, have rule based, they have configured it, and it will go to a next person. Now what if he has not used his phone during that point of time, or he's away, he's having his lunch, dinner, he's away on. Now this could be embedded with a crisis communication tool. So how it will enable, one, first it will try to reach out through multiple medium, not just through email, but it will do a call, SMS, or WhatsApp kind of thing. But if the concerned person does not react to it, it can then advance to the next level. So it can go to his manager or to the entire IT head based on the severity. So we have done such kind of implementations where smart routing, we have set up rules such as for a particular incident, depending upon the criticality and the severity of the incident, it will go to the right team or right members. And if those people or team do not respond within the right time, it will be escalated automatically. We have found very much, the feedback has been, it has improved the response and resolution times, because organization now do not have to, the concern cannot say, oh, I was away from my phone, or I was not checking my email because it was a Saturday or a Sunday. So you measure your performance based, and then you can better manage your SLAs and your client engagements further down. Moving towards the end now. So we also work into compliance and governance. So how do you do that? So people have said that in today's world, a lot of fake news comes into picture. So organizations certain times want to say, okay, this news against the organization is a fake news, because WhatsApp today is the biggest news channel for all of us, right? We suddenly something happens and you start getting notifications without even corroborating the information, right? So an example that we cite very often with our clients is that this was a client against whom it was said that a fake rumor was initiated that this company has gone bankrupt. And within 2 hours, all the employees were worried, and they were spreading that news more further. Now, how does the organization give a formal assurance in this kind of scenario? So what the management decided to do, they decided to use our tool, and what they said, okay, I will record. The CEO said he'll record the message in his own voice. That would be blasted to all employees so that there's an assurity from the organization that we are not bankrupt and this is a fake news. Now, this is a great way of communicating. When you hear a call coming in and you hear, oh, this is my CEO speaking, this gives a great amount of assurance that, okay, this message is fake, maybe it's not. So organization can use it for a very crucial update that the senior management want to give, or they want to highlight regulatory updates. Now, again, regulatory updates may not be for everybody, but they can form groups. So if there's an so inform relevant team of important regulatory updates and get an acknowledgement as well. So a lot of time people say, okay, why should we use the tool? All of that, whatever you're saying, I can just use See, an SMS blast tool does not give you all this dashboard view, does not give you all this analytics at the end of it, because you want to know how many people said yes, how many people said no, how many people acknowledge, how many people did not acknowledge, and all of that has to be done within a limited time period. These tools have now become like a bare minimum norm for organization because you are communicating so often. In fact, for us, frankly speaking, hand on heart, I can say COVID-19 was 2020 was 1 year where the emergency communication tool of Mreach was used the maximum number of times by all our organization. Generally, before a lot of communication for hygiene tips. In fact, today, not today, last week, we had a few calls where companies are now moving ahead and saying, we want to use the tool as vaccine tracker. We want to track, okay, how many of our employees have been vaccinated so far. And we want to do the same exercise like I did for wellness check, but for vaccine tracking every month on month or every 15 days. So by end of 3 months, I will know, okay, 10% of my staff has been vaccinated, 15, 20. And those people then could be, the arrangements could be made so that they are, the seating arrangements are made so that they are seating separately from the non-vaccinated, in that way. Or they want to put something else. So this gives a lot of assurance. They can allow them to projects overseas. They can allow, so these employees can fly back to different places. So a lot of things coming out of the entire piece of it. Yeah, so that's it from my side. I'll reiterate. So my closing comments before I end would be on two notes. One, see, communication today is not not like you can just avoid. As I said, it is non-negotiable because you are always going to communicate to different people, your employees, your management. In fact, the management gets paranoid if the information that is required is not given in the right period of time. So communication is an important piece. This is one tool where you can actually generate return on investment. You may not go and generate, but this is a tool where you showcase, okay, we ran 10 campaigns in a year. We did 3 call tree exercise, and these are the reports. And you can go, okay, we invested X amount of money, and this was the return on investment we got. So this is where we come. Second, and very important, that don't forget, a tool like this can actually save lives. Okay, it can definitely help in business continuity and ensuring operations are up and running, but in every second counts. So if in the end, if you even can save, no amount of money can justify to a life cost, right? So a crisis communication tool can actually save life because it works faster. You can reach out to the right person within the right frame, and we can give them the right message itself. So on that note, thanks a lot again, Elizabeth. I hope I did complete in time. And thanks a lot to all the audience. I'm happy to take some questions for this talk.
Thank you so much, Mitesh. Amazing. And I cannot be saying any more further in terms of communication. You've already answered one of our questions from our audience, which is, what is the frequency of testing the BCP? Am I right? Am I correct? You picked up that question.
Yes. What is the frequency I picked up? Yes.
Yes. So I'll move to the second question. It came from Aditya. He asks how to effectively manage information flow.
I think that question was not for me, but apologies. It is very vague. I need to understand what context was the information asked. So Aditya, if you can highlight a bit more information. I saw that question before my talk already began, but I'm not sure what was the context that question was asked. I'm happy to answer Kavya's question here. So Kavya has asked that for a small organization with around 200 employees based out of single location, if they are using WhatsApp as a mechanism to communicate any critical information, and as an alternate they have email sent, what is your advice for such small organization to have crisis? See, it is not about number of employees. Again, the mistake happens that for 200 employees, the cost of the tool would be very little. Okay, please understand that. But what we are telling you is, see, okay, you try this out for 200 employees. If you do a call tree exercise, how much time does it take? And then you have to generate reports. Can you tell me whether with the first attempt that particular employee was able to reach? You may not be able to tell me. Whether did he answer the call? You may not be able to tell me. So what we are saying, a crisis communication tool gives you multiple modes of communication. It can include, as I say, WhatsApp, email, SMS, call, or a push notification if you have downloaded the app, but also give you analytics to you and the management so that they can further respond to those people who require help, and then you can see, okay, what mode works well. So certain people do not accept call. We can ask them why this call was not accepted. We know answers. For example, we have heard that, no, I thought this number was not coming from a very different source. So then we can answer those kind of questions. So my answer to Kavya is that for such organization itself, you can still explore crisis communication tool because it does more than just the email communication. You do not have analytics after that. Okay, I'll go down. Let me see.
By Mohammed Habib. What tool is adapted if he or she works at home and does not match the time?
Okay, I have to go to answered.
Time who has time limit office hours. If this gives return to companies, is any resolution to overcome? In general, at home, meeting could be inconvenienced, or she has an inability due to not being equipped with the system. Is the question clear? That came from Mohammed Habib.
Let me read it again. So yeah, no, just let me read it again. What tool is adapted? Okay, this is not to do anything with the crisis communication tool, but this is more of a tool that, you know, if a person is working at home and beyond the office hours, they have to resolve any issue. Okay, so this is definitely, I would say, a person-specific answer. For me, in a crisis, people are expected to step up. Okay, there is no tool to adapt to it. People are expected to step up in a crisis. You cannot, you know, people are expecting you to, you know, give your more during a crisis, to give more to your organization. So this kind of a scenario where you have been asked to work beyond your office hours, you can only ask for a day off at the end of the day. But that is best done between an arrangement between you and your bosses, because there is no perfect answer to this. Okay, yeah.
Great. I think I'll just pick up a last question from Anirudh, and he says, how do we communicate when there is any natural disaster like earthquakes? How do we forecast communication?
Okay, so earthquakes are not forecastable to the, yes, earthquakes are not a forecastable event. Okay, so you can only do it at the time of when it happens. Now what, okay, there are 3 steps to it. So because I worked a lot in Singapore and Philippines, and Philippines, you know, earthquakes is a, you know, remains an earthquake prone area predominantly. So they say, one, if when an earthquake happens, the first thing you should do is you need to communicate for emergency evacuation and let them know which location they should go. Okay, because sometimes they say that we cannot have a fixed area of an employees to go in, because of the buildings may fall in any direction, correct? So they say they use the tool because they want to tell the client, they tell the employees there is no one fixed area for assembly. The assembly area constantly moves because buildings may fall over any time. So they do a lot of practice exercises wherein they're asked to go to different areas. So first is for use communication to let them know which area to assemble. Second, because after an earthquake, I'm not sure what you are, if you're aware, an earthquake is always followed with a number of smaller earthquakes. Okay, so the intensity is lower. So they would like to communicate whether work from home or go to an alternate site. So the second aspect after an earthquake occurs is for letting them know whether they should go home or whether they should work from home. And third is to then, if for any reason, okay, this was one of the simulations which I did, you know, before I joined Mreach, you know, as a consultant, I did it. So when they had an earthquake kind of simulation, they used the tool and they said, okay, suppose our 50 people are stuck. Okay, and then they said we can use the communication tool to identify where they are stuck within the building, if it was a partial earthquake and the building has completely not fallen off, and then they can inform the relevant authorities, the fire brigades or the authorities that have come for evacuation, to let them know what is the exact location of those employees. So this was used during that. So the three use cases are, as I said, for assembly area to let them know whether they should work from home or they should know they should go to an alternate site, and the third one is to identify if they are stuck in a particular location, the exact location of where they are stuck. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Communication. the first thing that we learn when as a human being and throughout our life, we only improvise ourselves in each and every aspect of communication with every new relationship and situations. Tools for crisis communication, well touched upon with your keen understanding of industry and real life examples from the chief of Morgan Stanley, Cyril Richard, Virginia Tech shooting, Jantar Mantar scenario. Nothing else could have been a better use of the time allotted to you to simplify crisis communication. Connect with Mreach. Mitesh, you were like great, and a huge round of applause. Thank you so much for taking out your precious time and enriching all of us with your experience and expertise. Without wasting any further time, we move ahead to our
Hi, Elizabeth.
third
Hi.
panel.
Can I say something? This is Dhaval.
Yes,
Just
yes,
want to
yes,
add
definitely.
something
I
before you move ahead. Yeah.
I wanted to call you Dhaval on this. I mean, after the Elizabeth was over, I was about to call you. So if you
No
allow
problem.
me,
Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead.
no, you want to say something because I already had a plan to call you.
Sure, sure. No, no, you go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
You anticipated our thoughts, Mr. Dhaval Kapasi. So the stage is all yours. And
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just want to add, first of all, this is a great session, and I want to thank for an opportunity to be part of this event. And, I think a lot of information being shared. Based on my experience, what I feel is that, all of us obviously have responsibility. We are working in organizations, and there is a process that we follow, right? And in most scenarios, we are supposed to follow a process that the organization has already defined, the leadership has already said. But there will always come a scenario where management or leadership will not ask you, hey, can you follow this process? Okay. But they will, in fact, ask you, do you have solution for this problem? Right? Nobody would know what to do in that kind of a scenario. Right? COVID was one such scenario, and time and again those kind of opportunities come, and that is the time where all of us have an opportunity or a chance, okay, to come up with an idea that can change how the things work, right? And these are the things, right? Everything that we are learning from today's session regarding crisis communication or other processes and other topics, I think these are opportunities to learn what others are doing. And we have to push our organizations and solve this. But once you do that, and once the organization sees the value in everything new that has been happening, you will mark your presence within the organization. So that's all I had to share. I mean, everything else has been talked about from all the experts, which is great to hear. It was a pleasure, and I'll continue to enjoy the sessions. Thank you so much, Elizabeth and Sohan and Alvin team.
thank you so much, Mr. Dhaval. And with this, the virtual stage is all yours, Madhuji, for the next panel discussion. We have a quick question from Ruben from the audience. Do we have a break in between? And I would request you to answer the same.
Yeah, we do have a break, and we will not test the resilience of the audience more than this upcoming session. So after this panel 2, we definitely are going to have a lunch break so that we can just have a break actually. And during the break, we may also think whatever we could learn or we want to unlearn again in the second half. So this is going to be that. I won't be taking much of the time. And thank you, Dhaval. I wanted to have few words from you, but you have already covered that. And because when I thought of Dhaval saying something, because I had in mind, because he is the one who actually realized the importance of communicating effectively with the leadership, with the actual users and others. And there we are. So when you talk about communication tool, you have one person, Dhaval. So, and Dhaval, and the name which he has put in is Mreach. I am within your reach, if you trust me. So thank you, Dhaval. Thank you, Mitesh. It was a very insightful session. So with these 2 words, I move on to the next panel. And thank you, Dhaval, once again.
Thank you, Madhu. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. So COVID-19 has put a break on everything, as I mentioned in the morning also. But with the IT service continuity, and which is maintained by the information technology revolution, we are able to do this summit. We are able to maintain our organizational continuity, because business continuity comes later. When the organization is there, the business continuity will come over. So organizational continuity is managed with the help of IT.